Aveo friends, it is week 7 and I have a summary for you for the week. It was a great week. I'm still in Greece. I'm in my swimsuit as I'm filming this, and it's pretty easy to keep your vibe up whenever you are on vacation. This week has been amazing. We have motored from different places. There's not a lot of wind here. We did get caught in really high winds one day, but mostly we've been motoring from place to place in Greece and then anchoring, staying a few days, enjoying amazing food, meeting interesting people, just beautiful scenery. So it's hard to have a challenge, I think, in this situation. But there were several things that kind of came up this week. So like I said, the week was in Greece, having an amazing time. There was one day that we were moving from one place. They didn't have any more room for us at the place that we were staying. So we moved, we had the idea to go to a different Greek island. And whenever we got there, there was really high winds, and a flotilla, I think, had planned to come in, so they didn't have any availability. So we checked about 5 different places, and no one had any space for us. And so we were left to find our own place, like Anchorage spot, and the winds were pretty high, about 30 knots, and we ended up sailing, and it was a little bit stressful because of the winds and not really knowing where we were going, or we knew where we were going, but not really knowing what to expect once we got there, because it was in Anchorage. So during this, whenever this was happening with the high winds and the situation that we were having as far as not being able to moor, I was reminding myself to stay in a positive state, also accept what is going on around me, accept that, okay, we're not going to be able to moor at this place. What's the second plan? Okay, nope, not this place. Just being very objective and just accepting all that was happening, and realizing that it was happening for me, and I'm not exactly sure what the lesson was, if it was for me or for somebody else. I have some ideas, though. I think it could possibly be just showing me that I don't prefer that type of sailing environment. I like to make a reservation in advance, know that, I'm going to be able to moor there. And that's the kind of sailing that they have more in the south of France, where you can make a reservation. But in Greece, where I am in the Ionian, you can't do that a lot. And so I think that made me realize that that's really not my preference. So maybe that was it, and like all I needed to learn. And then, but everything else went well, like with the sail, with the high winds, we were able to handle it. We did a great job. We anchored. Everything went well. So as I was going through the experience, though, I was reminding myself to stay in a positive state, accept what is, look for the lessons that were involved in that, and just realizing that I am making a choice by having that experience, and I'm making a choice about how I am going to go through that experience. Am I going to go through it in fear, in frustration, or am I going to go through it, having a positive attitude and mindset? So that's what I chose to do. So that was one little challenge, which, was not a big deal compared to what a lot of people would go through in their life. But I'm being authentic and sharing my life and what has happened with me. The other thing that came up for me is some worry about my children again. So this is kind of an ongoing theme lately for me, where I have been having these fearful thoughts come up. So my son has moved in with me, and although, he's not here with me in Greece, but he's living in my house in Tennessee. So he has moved in with me, and I'm somewhat worried about him. He just got out of the military, and he is starting to apply for different jobs, and I don't know, I'm just worried about him being rejected and not wanting him to go through that. So, a teaching that Bashar talks about is how you neutralize negative or fearful beliefs. So, one of the things that you can do is realizing that you are choosing to worry about it. So, as soon as you're conscious about your thoughts or your feelings, it's a choice that you're making, which is, I find that to be very empowering. So a little exercise or tool that he gives to neutralize it, to feel back in control of that particular worry. And what he says is this little activity grounds that particular fear or fear-based thought, and it rewires your brain. Because when we were younger, we would maybe have a worry or fear, and we didn't completely ground that circuit. And so by using this tool, we're able to do that. So you can use this whenever you feel like something is out of alignment, and it will diffuse the energy somewhat so that you could investigate, maybe the underlying belief. So this is what I came up with. I'm choosing to worry about my son because I choose to believe I need to. So for some reason, I'm choosing to do that because I feel like worrying about him is going to help the situation somewhat. My conscious mind, says that's crazy because how does worry help you? Another thing that you could say is I'm choosing to worry about my son because I choose to believe it serves me in some way. Or I'm choosing to worry about my son because I'm choosing to believe that by doing so helps him in some way. I'm choosing to worry about my son because I am choosing to believe that he can somehow be harmed by his life experiences. Which whenever I just say that whole statement, that I'm choosing to worry because I believe it serves me or I believe it's helping him, like saying that statement and like grounding that energy, I can feel it lessen, like my worry and my anxiety about him lessen. And especially like reframing that belief into a new definition, I think is extremely helpful. So the new thing that I came up with was my son can never be harmed because he is a powerful, infinite creator, eternal being who has chosen this life experience on earth. So whatever he has chosen to go through is not going to harm him. In the end, it's going to expand him as the soul that he is. So those were really the two challenging things that came up this week. Like I said, in the whole overall scheme of things in life and what people go through on a daily basis, I realized that I'm extremely blessed. I'm sailing in Greece, having an amazing time, extremely relaxed. But even in this environment, there are challenges that come up and certain thoughts and worries that come up. And using these tools that Bashar gives us to help make so much of a difference. It just really shortens the refractory time or the time that I experience the negative emotion. So I love doing this. This is week 7. I hope that you will consider joining me on this journey. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my channel. And I look forward to week 8.